Now recording.
We're now recording, K-Mets.
We are. We're doing it. We're making it happen. Okay. All right, everybody. Welcome to the community call. It's Wednesday, August 9th, 2023, and we are going to
Now
kick things
recording.
off. So we'll just jump right into it with the main player right now, and that's FX.
We're now recording, K-Mets.
We are. We're doing it. We're making it happen live. Okay. On mainnet. All right, everybody.
It is.
Welcome to the community call.
It's huge.
It's Wednesday,
and I hope
August
everybody's had a
9th,
chance to poke around the
2023.
UI and get a
We are
sense. But
going to
we're
kick
live
things
on
off.
mainnet. We've got
So
real ETH. We've got
we'll
real
just jump right into it with
XETH and real FETH.
the
And
main player right now, and that's
and you know the
FX.
rubber's kind of hitting the road here,
We
K-Mets.
are. We're doing it. We're making it happen live. Okay. Yeah. I've got it up here in front of me. It looks like we're up to 676 ETH and back TVL. So pretty good.
Is that right? Well, and I mean, let's take a minute to talk about that, because that's like what we probably what's probably something that we should highlight a little bit here is that there are no token incentives live at all anywhere.
Yeah.
Like this is f of x running, just the mechanism is just now available to use on mainnet, and we are creeping up on 70% of our early, like in less than a week, of our like beta cap that our self-imposed cap. We've got a 1,000 ETH cap that we wanted to run with for a little while to just kind of kick the tires, right? Limit too much growth before we've had a chance to see how the system performs, and through different kinds of price movements of ETH, right? Different kinds of market situations, or at least, I mean, as much as you can see in a relatively short period of time. But like coming up on 700 ETH with no incentive at all is a huge signal, I think.
Yeah, I think it just basically shows to how the system kind of works on its own. I mean, the rebalance pool. That's sort of the incentive right now to mint FETH, other than just for stability, and that's at 11% APR right now. Like, I mean, that's
and that's a fair point. I say without incentive, and that's not quite true, because as you say, the stability pool runs with incentives that come from the staking yields of the reserve. What I mean is native token incentives, right? Like the all of the incentive that is running in the rebalance pool, it's just the basic part of the mechanism. And by the way, it's after revenue has been harvested by the protocol itself. Right.
Yeah.
So like the rebalancing pool it only represents about half of the total revenue that the protocol itself is bringing in. And so, when you're talking about DeFi mechanism design, we're talking quite often about is it really sustainable, right? And a lot of times you have to run and you see this with almost every product, but certainly with even with other Aladdin products, you have to have this token, a certain amount of token emission that you use to get through these bootstrapping periods, right? Like you need to be able to bring the capital in order to have the mechanism start working. And so you use these, liquidity mining in order to provide the liquidity that the system needs to run. And in my view, that's a totally legit way of going. But I think it really speaks to the power of the f of x mechanism, that in fact, we can use liquidity mining to sort of add fuel to the fire, but in fact, the basic mechanism is it's sound without any help, even during bootstrapping.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. In fact, I was just surprised at like how quickly we hit $1 million TVL. I think it was like about 48 hours or something like that. So
wow,
pretty good to see. And if we're still beta testing, so if folks have feedback or whatever, or any thoughts or whatever, please feel free to post it in the Discord and let us know.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're looking for everything here, guys. If you've got ideas about the UI, or how we kind of report things. Looks like XETH is up right now. We're up to $1.02.
Yeah,
but
It's I'm waiting for Paul to start posting pictures of his new Rolex that he's got on Twitter
Right.
from his XETH
Yeah.
position.
Yeah, exactly. Is that a top signal?
Soon.
I don't know.
It's coming soon.
So, guys, let's talk a little more about FFX and particularly about XETH because there's something here. We've been talking about this internally, and I think that we're thinking that XETH is something that is unique enough in the market that we're going to really have to focus our efforts on education, right? Like the key feature here of the XETH token is, as we all know, probably on this call, is it's leveraged ETH with no funding cost and almost no risk of liquidation. I mean, functionally zero, depending on assuming the protocol remains functional. So then this is not really what people are used to when they're used to trading perps with leverage, right? Like there's all of these, and in fact, I think that the whole trader headspace is completely different, or could be completely different. I mean, XETH can really open up the idea of leverage on ETH to a group of players that maybe wouldn't have considered it before, right? And I mean, I sympathize greatly with these group because they're kind of me. When I think about the way that I approach leverage, in terms of like if I'm borrowing against a position, I want to layer conservatism on top of conservatism in there, and I'm always aware of the risk of liquidation and the loss that incurs. And so I do everything to avoid it. But the reason that I layer all this extra, conservatism on top is because I don't want to get forced to make an emergency transaction on mainnet when gas is 600 Gwei, right? Like that's such a quick way to wipe out, 6 months of whatever gains I might have had from clever, like moving of assets around, speaking as a shrimp. And so, you've got this whole idea of, well, I can use this borrowing mechanisms to create some leverage, but I have to do it in a very, like, I have to be ready to unwind it at any minute, and or I have to build in a lot of conservatism so that, like, even in a crazy market situation, I'm not forced to come and make an emergency transaction. And then on the other side, you've got like the GMX style on-chain perps, and those come with these funding costs. That, I mean, in addition to the liquidation risks, and I don't know about others, again, I'm just speaking for myself, but since I am not a trader, I exclusively use those kinds of things as a toy, right? It's if I can make like 0.5% over the course of a couple of days on a price movement, then I'm on top of the world, right? But it's not I don't go to GMX because I have long-term confidence in ETH, right? I go there to play. I go there to goof around, basically, because it's so expensive, right? Like, I can't afford to hold a position open, right? Even if I had long-term confidence in ETH, which I do, it's not the right place to be long-term long.
Yeah, I think that's like one of the killer apps of sort of XETH is you can buy it and throw it into a cold wallet if you want and just leave it there.
Well, it again, and maybe I'm missing some obvious financial instrument but like, to me, there's really no other way to sort of add a bit of leverage to a position in a way that you can sit on for a long time without having that, like, liquidation panic or the crazy funding costs of holding the position open.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so novel and pretty new that it's going to take time. But that's why we have the booster program, is we need you guys to get out and make folks aware of this. And
yeah, so I guess that's kind of where I'm as I meander here. I think that's kind of where I'm going, is that I think that we as a group, like, just the Aladdin team as well as the community and everything else, I think that's, to me, that seems like a good place to focus our energy, is on talking about what makes this different. FETH is, we talk about FETH a lot, and how it's like a volatility reduced, it's kind of like a stable coin. It behaves like a stable coin. And the fact is that, you can treat it like a stable coin, right? And people know what that means, and they know kind of how they can work with it. So I think that, in a way, I think that the 10% volatility of FETH is a bit of a distraction to me, right? Like, it's a small, it's a relatively small. It doesn't change the way you would use FETH compared to USDC or anything else, right? It behaves like a stable coin, and you should treat it as such. And so to me, there's not too much education required on that side, apart from to just say, like, yeah, we've got this neat feature where we actually, like, it actually gets a little piece of ETH's price movement, and that's cool, but it doesn't fundamentally change how you use it. It doesn't fundamentally change what that is. It's, it's
Right.
stable coin like. But on the XETH side, it is quite a bit different, as you say. And so I think that we should focus our sort of energy on helping people understand what that XETH token can do for you, and maybe try to reach those people like me who are good candidates for using a token, for holding a token like that, right? People like me who it kind of solves the problem that, the two ends of the spectrum that I was talking about earlier, gives me a place that I can be a little bit more comfortable, but still take a more aggressive long-term view.
Yeah, I think you kind of like hit the nail on the head. Is that it's a more aggressive position on ETH, and I think you see a lot of these people like aping into, like, I don't know, Unibot or Rollbit, and that's fine. You can ape into those, but with ETH, you know a lot more about sort of the underlying characteristics of the Ethereum network, how that token functions within the network, ETH itself. And the token distribution and sort of like how that's all played out. And so XETH like kind of functions like one of those I'm almost hate to use the term like meme coin or something like that, but it has like the volatility characteristics of it. And so, but it doesn't have a lot of sort of those unknown factors, like sort of like,
well,
okay,
I think what you're getting at is it's like degenning with training wheels. Don't be
Sorta.
a real degen. Don't be a real degen. Degen on the ETH.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Yeah. All right. I think Kruger and I are doing our best to educate each other.
Yeah, exactly. And now everybody's asleep. Listen, you want to get back to is this your way of telling me that I should stop talking and get back to the agenda?
No, I love learning about XETH, but we do have a community call we got to get through here, I guess.
All right. That was our XETH diversion. Let's get back on it. So we're talking about FFX still. The mainnet beta, the 1,000 ETH cap, everything is looking good. We're still keen on feedback. We are looking at pretty soon. We're going to look at spinning up some on-chain AMM liquidity for FETH. Is that right, K-Mets?
Yes, that is correct, and that should be in the near future. And so, like, what you'll be looking at is with our partnerships that we have with Curve and with Frax. They have agreed to incentivize FETH liquidity, so it'll be FETH CRV USD pool and an FETH Frax base pool. So those will be coming in the next few weeks or so. So we got to get those set up and the gauges and all that. But you can be on the lookout for those. Those will be coming. So we'll let everybody know.
So some farming opportunities for FETH, and try to deepen that on-chain liquidity. Again, bring it up into that class kind of stable coin air, if you will.
Well,
and then.
And also, I mean, those positions will be on Concentrator as well, so you'll be able to concentrate into the compounders that are offered as well for those positions. So
that's right.
It's gonna it'll share the revenue, the rebalance pool. Then it won't be the only option then to sort of like.
Exactly. I was just going to say that, right now the rebalance pool is the only place to get any kind of yield, but the rebalance pool is kind of like, it's a very specific set of trade-offs that you're making, right? Going into the rebalance pool, as if you've got FETH in the rebalance pool, if the system were to enter stability mode, your FETH will slowly turn into staked ETH, right? As it is redeemed, right? That's how the rebalance pool works. And that's great. And a lot of people, for me included, you want to use that pool to both earn yield as well as opportunistically buy some staked ETH. However, if you don't want to make that trade-off, you don't really have a better place to farm your FETH. And so once these pools spin up and now there's going to be a place to bring FETH to farm it, low to no impermanent loss, and it's basically a stable coin paired with a stable coin. It's going to give another option for a place to farm it, and that's probably going to move some of the farmers of the stability pool out of the stability pool if they don't want to be sort of at risk of buying staked ETH. And so what you may see then is that it actually may increase the yields in the stability pool as all of the farmable FETH is no longer concentrated there. Hard to say.
Yeah, exactly. And so as those pools get incentivized and capital gets moved over there, then the rebalance pool APR goes up, and then people are going to want to a rational market would want to then mint more FETH to take advantage of those. So just helps.
Yeah, well, and it brings the options for it expands the options for what you can do with your FETH, right? And it allows you to more correctly express your more correctly meet your individual need.
Exactly.
Okay, so next thing, we need to talk about the FX token. We've had two very successful sales. The FX tokens have sold out completely. Up until recently, we have been and prior to the curve drama, we've been talking about kicking the token generation event off sort of as soon as possible after the mainnet launch of the protocol. I think, given the sort of chaos around the curve hack, I think we're going to suggest that the team is thinking anyway that we want to suggest to just push that back a little bit, push the token generation back a little bit, at least until the sort of dust kind of settles around what's going on with curve, and we have a little bit of that sort of stability back. And I think we're on the way to that right now, but I don't think we're there quite yet. I think it really benefits nobody to try to force this TGE into and I mean, remembering that we're going to be looking at liquidity on curve for it, and sort of starting this liquidity mining process. Given that the protocol is functioning extremely well, even without the liquidity mining, I think it kind of benefits everybody to push the TGE back a little bit. We're talking back, a small number of weeks, probably not indefinitely. But this is something that we're thinking as a team, and I think that it's probably in the interest of everybody.
Yeah, it's kind of a no lose sort of option, really. I mean, everybody's funds are, they're sitting away, and the protocol is generating revenue, which is being captured, which will be set aside for VEFX token holders in the future. So that's not going anywhere. So
that's a really good point. I kind of alluded to that earlier. That the protocol is actually stacking revenue pretty quickly. Charlene, do you want to comment on that? We should share that. I mean, that's all public. You can see it on chain, right?
Yeah, I think the protocol has earned over 3 ETH so far.
Over 3 ETH since it started less than a week ago.
Yeah, in revenue.
That's awesome.
And there's no liquidity cost.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and that's again key. We were talking about this earlier. We aren't paying anything right now. We're not paying for liquidity. This is not revenue that is balanced against some big liquidity cost outlay. And so, as Kmet said, the revenue as it comes in, as we described in the tokenomic structure, that is half of that is earmarked for FX token holders, for FX lockers, VEFX. And so what we're looking at is we'll just allow that to accrue, and just like we did with some of the other protocols, when we first launch FX token locking, there will be like a big back payment, right? Like there will be a whole bunch of revenues that have been that have accrued since the start of the protocol, and they'll be distributed at the moment that we sort of kick off that FX token locking.
Yeah, I think it basically just gives us a chance to sort of evaluate the system and kind of like make sure that everything is functioning smoothly and doesn't add any more time. We don't take any time or resources away from making sure that the protocol is just is humming right. So everybody's
the next
looking good.
The next thing we should talk about for FX tokens is that, TGE aside, there's no reason not to start thinking booster, right? As we've posted about the boosters already, and so. If the TGE is delayed, as we're talking about, I think what we're going to do is we're going to make the first booster round a double round because the boosting has already kicked off, right? So if we end up running, we'll just do we'll start off with a double month, right? And so what that means for everybody on the line is just that if you're a booster, this is it. It's fair game. Like TGE aside. We are currently in the time period of boosting, and it's going to be a double round for the first round. So get your ducks in a row for that.
Yeah, exactly. So there will be we'll have that, and that will be shortly after the TGE. So, but keep putting out content. I mean, I'm keeping my eyes peeled for anybody that post stuff, and it's we haven't closed off the boosters or anything like that. So
absolutely
keep getting the word out.
So much like the people who have bought FX in the token sales, the boosters are basically accruing value as they go right now. And in addition to that, we should talk about the last little chunk of the FX token allocation. If you guys remember, a long time ago, we put out the token distribution schedule, and there was a 0.5% TBD in there, which it will surprise nobody. TBD means airdrop to our early adopters and our early supporters and people who have come and risked their capital to use the protocol in the early days. So we're not going to be screaming about this, but I think that it will surprise nobody that this is something that's on our mind. It's what we've done with all of the other protocols that we have launched. And so we're looking at dividing these tokens, and we're not going to get into the details of exactly how they're going to be divvied up or how allocations are calculated, but we're looking at making sure that people who helped out on the test net when it was active, so prior to mainnet launch, and then people who were using the mainnet product during beta, we want to make sure that that we give a little extra something to those people who are taking the additional risk of using the protocol before it becomes really battle tested. You guys are out there, and you're a big help to launching a protocol like this, and so that's kind of the story there. So let's those airdrop tokens will be announced sort of closer just after the TGE as well. So the TGE, the airdrop, the first round of boosters, all of that is going to be coming once we have some stability and clarity around the sort of the curve hack situation, and once the dust settles from that.
Yeah, so appreciate everyone's patience on that. So hopefully those couple of items of news kind of help settle expectations and whatnot. And then our final FX news item is tomorrow we'll be having a Twitter space with DeFi Cheetah, and he's going to be on with us and chit-chatting about pain points in DeFi and how FX can be utilized to sort of help make everyone's life easier in the DeFi space. Just like we were already talking about, KMETs. Exactly. So I mean, it's just we'll just play this. We'll just have DeFi.
We'll
Cheetah
roll it.
Listen to this space again, and
exactly. We just roll it on forward and keep. Well, again, like I said before, I'll say it again. I think that the more talking about XETH and what it means and what it does, I think the better. That's something we need to get out there.
Absolutely, yeah.
Looking forward to that.
Would you say that it's a DeFi primitive, XETH?
I mean, yeah. I don't see why you wouldn't. I don't see why you wouldn't call it that. It's yeah, I mean, it's not built on anything else.
Yeah,
other than ETH.
it's pretty innovative. So I think it's kind of like, I guess, when you first learn about liquidity pools, when you get into DeFi, it's like, what in the hell is this? How does this work? What is impermanent loss? And we're just going to have to, over time, you just
Yeah.
help people learn.
Exactly.
Hmm.
All right. We've talked about F of X enough here. K-Mets. Shall we move on?
All right, if you say so.
We should. I mean, we can talk about it all day and all night, but let's give a quick update on the other Aladdin products, the other parts of the Aladdin universe ecosystem, if you will. Concentrator. Again, as everybody, the Aladdin team has been working like crazy behind the scenes with the with all of the sort of chaos and uncertainty around the Curve hack last week. And we have got Curve harvesting back up and active. It will, as you probably knew, when a lot of the concentrator was not able to harvest when we weren't able to get Curve liquidity on chain, and so now we are the Curve harvesting pool is now backed by the Curve Wrapped ETH Curve USD. Sorry, the Curve harvesting mechanism is now backed by the Curve ETH Curve USD pool, and reward harvesting is up and running again. So a speed bump on the road, but we are rolling again, and all the pending harvests were done.
Yeah, I think that's one of the cool things about Concentrator, is because it's always like collecting the rewards in the background. Like, even a speed bump like this, like Concentrator was technically still working fine. It just wasn't the compounding mechanism just was like sort of delayed.
Well, it couldn't get any Curve. Nobody could.
Yeah, and that's hey, it's all connected, right? I mean, you build a layer on top of another protocol. That's to be expected. But I mean, all things considered.
No, I'm quite proud of how quickly this kind of the whole system. I'm quite surprised in a happy way that that everything sort of stabilized as quickly as it did, and even as you say, something like Concentrator that's built on these on the structure of Curve, a mild punch, and we roll with it, and we're up and running again happily. A small number of days later, that's pretty good. That's pretty resilient.
That's right. I didn't hear no bell. Let's keep going.
Next up, last thing on Concentrator is that the Polygon A Curve reimbursement will be coming in the next few days. So if you were somebody who held A Curve on Polygon and you transferred it back to the Aladdin wallet, we will be sending out your mainnet A Curve in a couple of days. So keep an eye out for that. And if you're expecting it and you don't see it by next week, definitely reach out to us on Discord, and we'll pull your file. By which I mean we will look on chain and see.
Yeah. As we do.
Yep. We look on chain.
All right. So now we move on to Clever. So
yep, another round in the books. Love it. Round 50.
It was is Lanero available to maybe comment on that? I don't know if he's
tell us
able to chat or
spin a
anything.
yarn. I think he
might be indisposed.
He's indisposed. Yeah, he's in the shower right now. I don't know if you knew this, but Lanero makes a habit of listening to all the Aladdin community calls from the shower. And when he told me that, I thought, man, that's weird. But it's just, I guess everybody's got their thing.
I guess so. All right. Well, I mean, that would be one of the more normal things in DeFi that I've heard of. So.
But no. So the other thing that we should mention with Clever is that the Clever missions have officially been cut. All right, we are as of now officially. We are down to only 1/3 of the emissions that were going out before, and so now the CVX and the VE curve that the DAOs accumulated are being used to compensate. So there's no difference in the farming rates. There's no difference in the yields on any of the pools, but now the total clev going into the market and the total sell pressure associated with that clev is now gone. Or at least it's cut by 2/3.
Quite a bit.
And yeah, exactly. And I think that we're looking at cutting it even further by moving. And I've mentioned this a couple of weeks ago. And it's sort of like in the background, but just something to keep your eyes open for. I think we're going to be looking at moving that Clev ETH gauge that's on Clever, so that, you know, for people who have Clev ETH LPs and they're in the Clever farming page and they're earning Clev directly there. I think we're looking at potentially stopping emissions to that pool and using those Clev to pay for bribes. And by doing that, we'll actually be able to reduce the Clev that we emit in total, because of course there's a certain amount of leverage associated with paying with bribes, right? You don't need to. You get that bribe leverage value, whatever it happens to be at the moment, and so we can reduce again the total Clev going out into the world by making that change. But that will require LPs who are farming on Clever to migrate over to Curve. And hey, while you're at it, why not just go straight to Concentrator? Because Concentrator is a great way to farm Curve LPs.
Concentrator, good, man. Yeah,
Oops.
I think that's a fine idea, just a fine idea. So
Yeah.
so just keep your eyes peeled.
Get the
We'll
plug.
let everybody know when the emissions stop to that gauge, so that you have time to change things. We won't do it like, you know, in the middle of some giant event where you have to pay like like 600 gwei or something.
Yeah,
like that.
yeah. Actually, I think we should do that exactly at that moment. We're gonna wait for the worst gas conditions.
Just wait for Uniswap to have a meltdown. Hey guys.
Yeah, that's right. Right now. Well, now we should mention, like, there are emissions in Clev ETH on Curve already, right? So there's that gauge is already live on Concentrator, and so depending on you should check that out anyway, because you can wait, you can migrate across, and potentially not take a hit at all on your yields. You can migrate that across when it's convenient for you. It's not required yet, but it's available now.
I have been I have the Curve page for future APYs bookmarked, and I'm waiting to see what the Clev CVX APY is going to be for this next round. So that's going to be really interesting to see, because that's our whole goal here, right? Is to kind of up that a bit to kick off our growth program. So we'll see.
Well, and to help, and just to take away some of that Clev selling pressure, right? We want to minimize that going out in the world right now. So I think that's good for Clever.
Yep. Agreed.
And last minor comment here, just to sort of kick the can down the road a little bit, on the Aladdin subject. We talked over the last few weeks about a proposal that kind of takes what Tau had done and extends it in terms of bringing ALD into the vote escrow model, and kind of putting the tokenomics in place for the ALD token that kind of sets it up properly as the parent token, the mother token of the Aladdin ecosystem. We've got some stuff ready to push out onto the forum for people to look at, but I think we're going to hold off again, just in the interest of not overloading. We're going to start talking about that more after F of X sort of gets established. So right now we want our on the team, our focus as well as the community focus to be on getting F of X up and running, and giving it the best start possible. And then once we've got that kind of our legs under us there, then we're gonna circle back and dot the I's and cross the T's on this ALD proposal and get that migration into the rearview mirror. Yeah,
get the base token in its rightful places, the kingmaker of the ecosystem. So that'll be coming up eventually. So
that'll be good. And I think, Kmet, again, we perfectly, with 5 minutes to spare, got through our whole agenda.
That's pretty amazing, man. I mean,
yeah.
I think you're a little bit rusty though from being off for a week.
I feel rusty.
You're rusty. Charlene's a little rusty. It's just we're just like flying down the highway with hubcaps flying off, and
yeah. Well, I mean, in my defense, I got stung in the face by a hornet yesterday, and so my eye is swollen, and it just makes my You can probably hear it in my voice. You know, the swollen eye. Does my eye sound swollen?
Your eye does sound swollen.
Yeah. I know. I appreciate you not mentioning it earlier. You know.
Well, I didn't want to
But,
say anything. I didn't want to be judgmental.
Yeah, but anyway, no, it was a whole thing, and so I had to get the spray and go on a full assault. It's been actually a very where I am anyway, a very like wasp and hornet heavy year. And of course, by the time I discover things, it's like, you know, football sized nest.
Yeah.
And I'm standing like 4 feet away from it, messing with my string trimmer, and just unaware that it's there. Just like they've just tucked up into some corner, and I haven't even noticed it. And I'm like trying to reload the string on my weed whacker, and then just, you know, like why are there, like, what's with all the flies, and then sting in the face, and then you slowly put it all together. Oh, right. Those aren't flies.
Yes. Now I must run.
You bastards! I'll be back with a can of Raid tonight.
Yeah, I've been doing that myself. About like once a week, I'll go walk around my house, just go looking for those. We have like a lot of like wasps and stuff like that. And I honestly don't know what they do for the ecosystem that's positive. I would like to try to eradicate them.
This is the problem. Okay, it's so I keep bees, which means that I have to be really careful with these like pyrethrin pesticides.
Yeah.
But in fact, wasps are like actually very beneficial. They are very aggressive.
Yes.
But they they're much more aggressive than honeybees, put it that way. Unless you've got Africanized honeybees. We're not going to get down there. But the wasps are like carnivorous, and they eat a lot of larvae of stuff that destroys crops. Like for example, and this is something I've discovered this year as we're working on improving our vegetable garden, is that you actually want wasps in your garden to eat the caterpillars, right? That destroy kale and whatnot. Like people, like when you talk about companion planting, right? You plant you plant stuff in your garden that you don't eat, but it like helps in some way the plants that are near it. And one of the big things that you plant are things like nasturtium and marigold to bring wasps in. And first of all, like pollinators are good, you know.
Well, there's
more
your
pollinators
problem.
is better. Well, but my garden's not near my house. They don't need to be in my house. This is...
You see, we bring the criminals into the neighborhood. It lowers the property taxes. I can save my money and reinvest back into FX protocol. It's all part of the system.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, we probably want to be able to eat food. That's like a thing we should be able to, like, growing food feels like one of those important things. Maybe not like individually, but collectively, we do want to still be able to do that.
I think, I'll give you that. I'll give you that one.
Anyhow, I'm telling you, my garden is happier than it's ever been the last few years, and my eye is swollen shut. So you just, it's a trade-off.
I guess so. You just, there's pluses and minuses. Just, as long as you can roll with it, and it's just my positive outlook on life. That's what I maintain it. And then I murdered the whole nest full of hornets because they were in the wrong spot. Yeah, I have a mosquito zapper or whatever, and I tell my friends, I'm like, listen, as a general principle, I am opposed to genocide. However, this bug zapper is incredible.
Yeah, you know what? I can, like, mosquitoes I can get behind. I feel like it's worth rolling the ecosystem dice on eradicating mosquitoes completely from the world.
Let's see what happens. Let's just give it a shot.
Yeah, let's just see what happens, because those are, I mean, where I live, they are a scourge. Like I am waiting for the day when I get picked up by mosquitoes because I'm being bitten by so many of them simultaneously.
Okay, that's the day we will know that DeFi has gone too far, is when Kruger is picked up and carried off by the mosquitoes. Who knows where? Yeah. Oh boy.
Into the cedars, K-Mets. That's where they live.
All right. Well, that's apiary talk for this week. And so
very informative. I learned more about wasps today than I ever knew. It's great.
I did
Yeah,
too.
well, and
It's good to know.
I thought they were
really-
useless. So.
Yeah.
I did until recently as well, but then I'll tell you what's been interesting is like I happen to like kale a lot, and the like cabbage moths, those white moths, and like the little
Mhm.
tiny green caterpillars, they will destroy it, and you can actually just go stand by your garden and watch these wasps hovering over the top of kale, and like you can watch them eat the caterpillars. They're extremely good at it.
Wow.
And so, yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where it's like I grudgingly decided that I wouldn't try to murder them all in all situations, but I want a perimeter around the house where I don't get my face stung and my
Right.
eyes swollen shut.
I wondered those among us who don't tend to a garden what they can offer. So I feel like right now we're still at a pretty big deficit.
Well, that's true. Although most people, whether they garden or not, they do like food.
Technically correct, yeah.
So
Yes, in Texas, it's very apparent. You can very apparent.
Yeah, no, I can. They're definitely there's not a big upside in areas where they're not helping out, helping protect my kale. I definitely will give you that. And they are annoying little buggers. So,
Well,
and I
maybe
say
we
this
can
as a
get,
person with no depth perception today. So I know very well.
I think you're in an abusive relationship, is what it sounds like with these hornets. He's like trying to talk them up. He just keeps dinging them.
But I
Oh,
keep.
well.
I mean, I. It is actually extremely satisfying to eat food from your garden, like in a way that actually is meaningful. Do you know what I mean? Like to be able to oh, we don't actually have to go buy any vegetables at all today because we have everything that we need.
It's
Yeah,
the
it's,
same. It's the same feeling when I can take my staked ETH rewards from the rebalance pool and use it to pay for gas. You do your farming, I do
Yeah.
mine.
Exactly. No, you're right. You're right. You pay for gas at those things, and it's just you feel good deep down.
Oh, Charlene's already put in her delivery order.
Oh, that's right. Well, I mean, we've got beans and we've got kale, we got cucumbers, everything you need.
Oh man, you can. Get
And
some good
if I destroy them at the time I create the NFT, that imbues the NFT with the power of the vegetable, right?
Oh no,
think-
not this.
That's
I
providence.
think legally that's correct. So
Nutritionally,
I'm going to be sending
maybe less.
nutritionally dubious, legally correct. And so I'm going to make all my future food bank donations in NFT form.
Oh man. Well, that's one way to not educate people about DeFi.
Certainly sounds tax efficient, though. I'll tell you.
Yes, it does. Yeah. Oh boy.
Right.
All
Okay.
right,
Should we? We're getting we left the rails a while ago. So
Well, the good news is it's all recorded, so if people didn't catch that,
right.
they can all
God,
listen.
we're gonna
later.
need to. I think Paul's gonna need to go in with the editor and maybe cut some of this nonsense
No.
out.
Cool. Let's leave it.
All right. Well, thanks
Okey-doke.
everybody for joining us, and
Yep.
let's talk again soon.
Yep, we'll catch you on Discord and on Twitter and whatnot. You guys have a good one. Thanks, everybody.
Bye,
Bye,
everyone.
all.
Later, guys.
Bye guys, thank you.